It's Monday night, we're here on RaceSpot TV. We're at Oulton Park. In fact, once this was the site of a staging camp for General Patton as they prepared for the Normandy landings. We're looking forward to a battle of a different kind tonight as we go racing here for 14 laps with the UK Skip Barber Racing School Series. I'm Rachel Whiteford and I'm joined tonight by Jimmy Broadbent. Jimmy, this track is very unique and very fun.
Yes, good evening, Rachel. I've had the pleasure of racing a couple of races here this week myself. Very fast track, even these little skip barbers, very important to your apexes around here. So it'll be very good to see how these guys handle it.
Absolutely, of course, we have a smaller grid tonight than we're normally used to in this series, but that is in part due to the fact this circuit does actually have limited pit stalls, so we're only seeing 28 drivers in total. But it's not going to detract from any of the racing we see here tonight. This track always produces exciting, fast-flowing racing, and, well, once again, Simon Povey is sitting on your top step in qualifying for now. Can anybody beat him? We'll have to find out. Behind him it's Clark Williams, David Williams. No, they're not related. The Human tonight is in P4. Ryan Walker in P5. Coming off the back of a first podium position last week at Zandvoort. Jimmy, you've driven this place before, of course. Just tell us a few ideas of the challenges facing drivers around this track.
The thing that I find most difficult in this car is the eye line. You're very low in the skip bar, but obviously you can control that in your camera file. But as default, you are very low, and there are a lot of sort of blind corners here. Turn 1, for example, it's a very late apex from what you expect it to be. And the same is true coming up the hill on the second half of the circuit, which is very fast. You get a tyre on the grass there, you get dragged out, you can end up actually losing a lot of time. Or, if you're very unfortunate, they're going into the wall, which I've done a couple of times as well, but we won't talk about that too much.
Well, hopefully not, of course. We're looking forward to 14 laps as previously mentioned, and we do have just about 3 minutes left in qualifying. Times at the moment looking to be in the 1 minute 42-ish second bracket for pole position, Jimmy, which means that realistically maybe 1.5 laps here for drivers to go out and improve their times. As it stands, we are looking at a pretty standard gridding here of positions and speeds, but some out-position drivers in a good way. Likes of Ryan Walker, we mentioned, Chris Malcolm and Raymond Norris. Also driver who had a great run last time out. Mark Turner as well, looking to be in position for a top 10 start for this race. Of course, Oulton Park, we did say, is narrow and it's tricky. This could definitely produce some controversial racing moments.
Yeah, we've got a lot of slipstream here as well. The Skippys known for their draft, obviously coming down the back straight. If you're winning a second for the person in front of you, you're going to get dragged along, and it's going to keep the battling nice and close, and will make our job as commentators a lot more fun, I think.
It certainly should do, of course. Tight, twisting, very naturally evolved British racing track, and one of the reasons I love this place so much is, unlike a lot of tracks, Jimmy, that are, do we say, they are produced, Oulton Park is one of those special breed of racetracks that has evolved over the years.
Yeah, it's only got better. It really has. I mean, it has changed slightly since its first sort of layout. But I remember very keenly in the late 90s watching the BTCC around here, and that layout was the layout we're on now, effectively. And to watch those cars dance around the chicanes and be right on the limit of adhesion is just fantastic. And to get to race that, of course, is brilliant. And we're going to have a real treat today.
We certainly are, and the last few moments of qualifying are currently underway. Not seeing any improvements in time so far. We do have drivers out on track, one of those being Ryan Walker in the number 5 machine. He's following the driver ahead of him, that is the 337 car. Although he has to take evasive action there to avoid Lee Deemer as they head into the hairpin section of the track here. As that may not be an improvement in time for him. And Snyder is also on a lap at the moment. We will see if he can make any improvements whatsoever. David Williams is, well, we were going to say he was on track, Jimmy, but he was just taking a bit of a trip on the grass.
Not where you want to be going, really, to be honest. You want to be trying to keep it within the white lines, of course. Something you'll get an idea of looking at with these cars, just how oversteery they are when they're on the limit, and you'll see a lot of these guys flying through the corners, and in some areas it is faster, but you do that over and over again. Even with these road tyres, they're going to heat up and bad things are going to happen.
There certainly are a few drivers still out completing laps. Now the checkered flag has been shown. We'll see if any final improvements can be made. Simon Povey is in his pit stall, pulling a Sebastian Vettel. He's done his lap and he's parked. He's pretty happy with his time. Well, he's about 6/100ths of a second faster than Clark Williams in P2 with a 142.090. For himself, he's about 9/100ths faster than David Williams, so pretty thin at the top, Jimmy, but those times looking not to be changing.
I think David heard me now because I'm just watching him on stream and he's drifting through all the corners. Fantastic display from him, not really safe though, but very tight at the top. Only 2 tenths covering the top 3 and half a second covering the top 5. So it's going to be a fantastically tight race at the start, to say the least. And with such tight racing can come tears. So maybe some opportunities for those further down the field.
Yeah, absolutely can. Well, we're going to go through your qualifying now. We have your provisional grid set, barring any changes. We will go through your top 10 and the rest of your grid. On provisional pole for today's race, it's Simon Povey in the 45 car with a 1 minute 42.017. Clark Williams starts on his outside on the front row. Behind him, it's David Williams and Fahim Antonides in P3 and 4. Stephen Harpham and Raymond Norris bring up behind them on your third row. Fourth row is Ryan Walker and Chris Malcolm. Behind them on the fifth row, rounding up P9 and P10, Gary Tall and Mick Watson. Rest of those positions are on your screen as we wait for those drivers to head out on track and begin gridding. We're going to get ready for 14 laps of amazing racing here at Oulton Park. You guys in the UK Skip Barber Series never disappoint. We're looking forward to a great race. Well, the drivers are heading out now towards the racetrack as we get set for 14 furious laps of racing in the British countryside. Where better to go racing, Jimmy?
Well, I think we're a bit biased, aren't we?
That was a rhetorical question, but yes, we are being biased.
It's great to be biased. This was Thruxton. I would like Thruxton, but oh well.
Yes, Thruxton, Knockhill, there's a number of tracks, but we are here, in fact, at Oulton Park in Cheshire. What a place. As we're waiting for pole sitter Simon Povey to take to the track, as the rest of your grid head out now to begin the race. We'll be going live in just about 1 minute 30 seconds time. So these drivers, as we say, well, tyre issues never a problem here, Jimmy. Expecting this to mostly be down to, well, drafting, as you mentioned earlier. Even the small car, a major factor.
Drafting and bravery, especially coming off the back straight. That's actually a very popular overtaking spot, despite the fact that it is only one car through there at once. You can't go too wide through there unless you want to ruin someone's day. So it's about being brave and being on that inside.
Certainly is. Don't forget, folks, if you are interested, you can see live timing on racespot.tv/timing. So go to that website if you want to see exactly how fast these guys are, how far apart they are, down to the 1,000th of a second. That's racespot.tv/timing. Well, the final car's heading to the grid now, and they are, well, the last car in line is Stuart Adcock, back in P27. In fact, they're all starting back almost in the last sequence of corners, Jimmy, as we get ready to go green now. Your pole sitter has finally taken to the track, and we are waiting now for the lights to come on the iRacing.com gantry as we get set for 14 laps of racing here. A few more seconds. Engines starting to rev up as drivers get a little excited. Engines rev, lights are on, lights are out. We're away racing here at Oulton Park. Simon Povey with a great start there. Good start by Clark Williams. He gets in line behind Povey. Good start by Williams behind them, but Antonides really not quite the start he might have wanted. He'll have to tuck in place in P4. Behind them, two wide racing through turn number 1 at the moment, as it's Ryan Walker and Raymond Norris pushing for position there. Harpham actually trying to make a move on Antonides. Wasn't entirely possible for him, but looking back in your field, everyone's single file very rapidly here. Fraser Williamson looking to the inside there of Mark O'Connell, not quite close enough as we head through turn number 2 here at Oulton Park, running down towards one of our trouble spots, Jimmy, the hairpin.
Yeah, very difficult to get out of shape down here, especially if you're battling. Very easy to go wide and just tag the grass on the right, being dragged into the wall. All the cars coming down seem to be all nice and in sync at the moment. The 00 of Raymond Norris having a look at Stephen Harp in front of him, but not quite managing to make any sort of move stick. And now we're going to see that draft come into effect. Just look how much faster you are when you're behind another car.
Absolutely, the draft, a huge impact on this long back straight hill onto Park. As we see at the front, it's Clark Williams looking to the inside of Simon Povey. And we'll see your pole sitter overtaken on the inside. That draft in full effect there. But a good undercut manoeuvre there by Simon Povey in that 45 car. The sunshine, lollipops and rainbows to full effect here for the 45 car as he undercuts Williams like a pro. Right on the inside here as we come through the double apex right towards the end of this lap. And Povey will retain the lead.
Clark hanging out there on the outside, still managing to keep second position for now, but not for much longer, I don't think, as David Williams has a look up the inside as well. But Clark very late in the braking, having a look around the outside of Simon Povey. I don't think he's going to make that stick. No, he's not. He's going to run wide. He's now going to lose second place, I think, coming up to turn 1 as we just go over the line now to complete the first lap of 14.
It certainly is, and that little bit of grass just lost in momentum there to David Williams in the VRS Coanda Simsport car, as he will take that second place. And it looks like Antonides will have a piece of the action too. Looking at the inside of a very out of shape Clark Williams in that 98 car. Just all over the place, trying to find as much grass as he can. We think he might have cold tyres, perhaps trying to scrub them off.
Yeah, that may be the case. Now he's under attack from Antonides behind him, coming up the inside. This is somewhere you don't want to be too wide. Just have a look and see what Antonides does here, coming up into the left-handed, backs out of it, probably quite sensible at this point. All that's to go is on. Mr. Williams goes very wide again, nearly tagging that grass. On the inside now, though, the contact with Antonides twice. Yes,
big contact there with Antonides and Williams as they head in towards the hairpin. It's turn number 5. Wheel-to-wheel contact as Antonides' car's tagged, runs wide, loses multiple spots, but we don't really think he's that damaged. Of course, Jimmy, that car looks to be in reasonable shape, just a little bit out of shape.
He does seem okay. He doesn't seem to be any sort of crabbing or steering issues at all there, but that's going to take him out of his rhythm a little bit. As he gets contact from behind now, coming through the fast right-hander. I think unsighted in the braking zone there. He's still somehow keeping this thing pointing in the right direction. Very exciting lap for Antonides so far.
It's not the kind of lap Antonides will be wanting there, as he's, of course, was punted sideways through the hairpin, drifting, as we've seen several drivers doing here, but he's off the track. In fact, Antonides is out, we believe, here, heading up the hill towards the double apex right, grabs the grass. Replay should be up on your screen in just a moment, but Antonides wheels on the grass, no traction. That car spins him into the inside guardrail. Well, the race is over early for Fahim Antonides.
He's still running around the back, but that will be his competitive race over nonetheless. A very interesting mistake from him. I think maybe just a little bit unsettled after the antics on the previous lap, but a shame for him anyway.
Very much a shame for him, as we see the battle at the front. Simon Povey, David Williams, as Clark Williams aims to rejoin that forward group. Of course, he lost some time after his contact with Antonides, and that would really has taken him out this initial battle. But not a large gap forming, Jimmy. These guys at the front not quite able to get away.
No, the top 6 cars have sort of come away from the rest of the pack, with Chris Malcolm trailing in 7th. And this is what we're talking about the draft. It's very hard to actually break away in this unless you're significantly faster than the people in front of you. If you have a second either way in lap time, that's going to be negated by the draft, as we see here, and which is why the top 6 are sort of running away, and why Chris is starting to fall back a little bit, because he's a little bit further out of that draft.
It certainly is. Raymond Norris coming off the back of a great finish, of course, at the Circuit Park Zandvoort here, as we see a move by David Williams in the 20, the inside of Simon Povey. Will we see another undercut by the 45? The pass was completely clean. No opportunity for an undercut by Povey, as we have a new leader here on lap number 3. That is the 20 car, VRS Coanda Simsport car of David Williams. Now under threat once again by Povey. He wants his lead back. He wants a clean sheet on his results. Led every lap from pole to finish. Well, we have a contender for you, Simon. That is David Williams. He's making that car very wide, but we could see a move in the final couple of corners here by Povey. He will sit back and take the more reserved approach, Jimmy. Not quite prepared to lunge just yet.
Yeah, we've still got a long way to go in this race, well, comparatively anyway, but just coming onto lap 4 now. And lots of spots to get the overtake done. That's probably not the easiest way to do it. And bear in mind, we've got that massive draft in the end of the straight, and David Williams now, whilst he is in the lead, won't have that draft anymore. He's going to be under threat. Just as he overtook Simon the middle of the last lap, I'm sure Simon was going to do the same thing coming into that right-hander.
Well, we're going to expect to see a move perhaps by Simon Povey here in this run from turn 2 to turn 3. As we head down this first straight here at Oulton Park. Povey with a very good exit from the corner. He's not quite close enough though to make anything happen with David Williams. Another opportunity in a moment's time, but further back, another one good running position here for Ryan Walker in the 5 car. Of course, first podium last week at Zandvoort, and he's running in your top 6 at the moment, so big improvements from him. Very exciting to see just that.
Yeah, a very emotional man. Wears his heart on his sleeve, does Mr. Walker, after his first podium. I remember watching his video and hearing him cheer like a madman, bless him. But they're in the 6th now, still running a good result, and still in contention for the winner at this point. All these cars so close together, it nearly runs into the back of Stephen Harpin there, getting it wrong. Maybe gave him a little bit of stage fright there.
That he did, and we saw Simon Povey doing the mirror image move that we saw from David Williams into the corner there before the uphill climb. As Povey did take that lead, but back comes Williams on the outside of the double apex right, as maybe slight contact there, or very nearly avoiding that contact, as these guys racing incredibly hard at this early stage, Jimmy, but a little bit further back in your pack, very sedate racing. We're seeing lots of conga lines of cars here. We have one being led by Nathan Davies, with Mark O'Connell looking to the inside here as we end the lap.
I was just looking at that battle, as you mentioned it, very good there, as Mark O'Connell nearly catches Nathan Davies there coming out of the last corner, and I think Nathan said something about that on chat there, but at this point in the race, with these cars being so close together, especially with the draft as we mentioned before, there's not much point really diving and dashing with each other. We might as well just sort of stay together, try and catch up with the guys in front, work together as they say, and not lose time by fighting.
Yeah, absolutely, Jimmy, but this might end in tears. We have 2 wide, 2 deep here at Oulton Park, as it was Mark O'Connell, Simon Maltby, Rob Marshall and Gordon Anderson there, fighting in very, very close quarters, as we're still 2 wide there with the cars of Gordon Anderson and his car ahead of him, Rob Marshall. More dust, Maltby off the track, running very wide, and off goes Anderson. Big impact with Anderson and Maltby there. We're going to have to get a replay for you there. That was an incident that started with, I believe that was Rob Marshall, Jimmy, as he just gets a bit of the curb, pushes the car of Gordon Anderson wide. He runs off the track into the already sliding Simon Maltby, so a big moment for those drivers.
I think Simon Maltby was thinking, oh, okay, great, I've just managed to avoid the wall, and then out of nowhere he gets tagged by a car from behind. That's just the way of this circuit here, especially at that left-hander. You get it wrong there, there's nowhere for you to go except for into the grass and into the wall, and Simon unfortunately was a bit of a victim there.
Oh, terrible luck there for Gordon Anderson and Simon Maltby, especially, as we said, Simon Maltby not quite expecting to be slapped quite so hard after he made a save of his career. But further back in your fieldings, very single file at the moment, maybe 1 or 2 cars running together, but as a whole, it's pretty spread out. Our real battle here is in your front 6, although that has increased now to a front 7, as Chris Malcolm catches back up to the rear of this gaggle. And what could have been a breakaway for your podium positions, Jimmy, that is the drivers of Povey, Williams and Williams, again, not related, has formed into quite the pack.
This has been created by the squabbling of Simon Povey and David Williams, but that is just how it is around this circuit. You can't get away at the front, so you have no choice unless you want to slow up and let the guy behind you have a go at second place. You have to keep going for first place, you have to keep going for the overtakes, and that's what's keeping these guys together. Chris Malcolm, as you said before, he was a little bit off the pace at the start, now seems to have found the back of Ryan Walker's car, and now these top 7 drivers.
Very much so. Top 7 drivers having a good run of it here today at Oulton Park. Not quite as spread out as we've seen in previous races at this very circuit, of course, normally running the shorter layouts. But at the moment, it's Simon Povey really under threat from David Williams there.
We've got a 3 wide back here, 14.27 and 3.37. That's Lee Deemer, Barry West and Alan Patterson. And Lee Deemer just coming out on top and then going wide, very wide indeed, just about managing to cut back into the circuit. That was very interesting there. I don't like to see 3 wide going down there, but that was interesting.
It certainly was, as they try to go 2 wide again. It is not Lee Deemer, I apologise, Barry West and car ahead of him. Is that Alan Patterson? No, it can't be, he's changed his car. I believe that is John Jenkins, in fact, who got past those 2 of West and Deemer, as he tries now to defend up towards the double apex right. Will he have a chance to do anything about it? He probably will not at this stage, but up at the front, it is still Povey, Williams, Norris, Harpham, your top 5. We are on lap number 7, so approaching that halfway point here, as we've seen no real sign of this changing. These guys have been racing hard from lap 1, Jimmy, with absolutely no inclination they plan to take it easy or race more carefully.
I'm waiting for the inevitable fireworks, to be honest, at this point. It's great to see such good wheel-to-wheel action at this point, but there is such a thing as reservation and conservation in racing. I know people don't like to hear those words when it comes to your motor cars, but we want to get to the end, and I'm sort of worrying about the guys at the front. They've been going at it tooth and nail, and again David Williams up behind Simon Povey, but gets off the throttle a little bit here. This is where it's intelligent driving coming into play, just waiting for the opportunity to slipstream as you get a run. Trying to overtake down through here could only end in tears, as we've already seen.
Well, it seems these drivers are allowing each other to pass really as we head through from turn 5, 6, 7 and 8 here as there's no real opportunity to defend Jimmy in this draft. It's such a strong force. But these drivers are very used to running this draft. This car, of course, most tracks with a straight line suddenly become a draft track to the Skip Barber car, but they're very used to using that intelligently, letting drivers through, waiting for that opportunity to be in second place in the final lap to really take the advantage.
Yeah, I'm just watching from Clark Williams' perspective. He's just sitting in third place happy. He does have Raymond Norris behind him, and not to say he's having an easy run of things, but I'm sure a mistake from either of the front two, and that is Clark promoted up to the leading position as I think that David Williams puts a wheel on the grass and goes a little bit wide. I always get a little bit of a cringe when they skid out wide there. I always expect the car to be lost, but these guys always seem to very expertly control the slide and get back onto the racing line.
Certainly do it. So 2 wide, 2 deep heading into turn number 1 with your leaders here. This will certainly bunch up your pack as wide goes David Williams and manages to hold on to that car again very well. As Povey once again in the lead, but behind him it's Clark Williams alongside Raymond Norris. So Norris certainly making himself known in the series very rapidly here as he is dicing with Clark Williams. Behind them we could be looking at 3 wide as Stephen Harper wants to get involved. He will definitely take the sensible option there and back out. That could have been quite a disastrous approach to a very fast left-hand corner, Jimmy, but they seem to have spread out once again.
Clark Williams and Norris went side by side through the left hand, and that's allowed Stephen Harper now to oh sorry, apologies, I'm on the replay. There you go.
That's normally my job to be on replay.
Well done, Jimmy. But yeah, looking back at the front now again, Dave Williams and Simon Povey going side by side. This is the sort of move you're going to be seeing for the rest of the race, and I always, again, going for this right-hander, it's so perfect to me when I do it. I have to get it completely correctly, and these guys are going through here offline, off speed, off throttle, and still managing to make it stick and still taking a fast line through there. Just goes to the skill of these top guys in the Skip Barber series.
Yeah, they certainly do, Jimmy, and of course we will be showing you more racing throughout this field, but well, it's actually really spread out. Most of your drivers, maybe 2 car groups, but the vast majority of this field running single cars. We've had numerous wobbles, wiggles off tracks and moments as these guys struggle to tame what is quite a challenging race circuit to drive, Jimmy, but this front pack of really 7 cars is all we have really in the group.
It is, yeah, and those front 4 cars now are starting to break away a little bit. Maybe Ryan Walker being held up by Stephen Harpen. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. I didn't see the last race, or the last lap, sorry, I should say. But it should be interesting to see if Ryan's going to start thinking about making a move now, maybe, on Stephen. Don't want to let those front 4 get away, because that's where the big points are. Obviously, that's where the prestige is. So this is definitely a battle to watch.
Absolutely, of course. We do know these leaders have a penchant to sometimes tangle wheel to wheel in these races. They are all very passionate drivers, and well, if he can get past Stephen Harper, we could be looking at a second podium in a row for well, podium virgin Ryan Walker. He might be after one in the second race only after completing his first, so that could be on the cards should these guys battle any harder and have an issue. But he might even get a win if that was to happen. It depends exactly just how desperate they are, of course. For him and tonight as championship leader, Jimmy is out of the race early on. He is on track still running, but he's down in P19, which is out of the points. So this is a perfect opportunity for the likes of Povey, Williams and Williams to really get some good race points.
Yeah, Anthony is definitely not a factor anymore unless he pulls out some ridiculous lap times, which you won't be seeing, unfortunately, from him. But they're all coming out the hairpin. They all seem to bunch up now. I think David Williams made a bit of a mistake, and it sort of backed up the entire group into each other again. Now they're back together, which is what we like to see, for the sake of racing. And just watching them now coming down into the last corner, again Simon Povey just sort of in position in front of David Williams and getting it a little bit loose through there, but still making him carry the speed. I never understand how these guys do that. I always end up getting to my arms crossed.
Oh, absolutely true, but as we see here, once again, it's David Williams chasing that very bright car of Simon Povey, the Panda Motorsports machine, never quite looking as merry, shall we say, as it is at the moment, as it's chased by the very serious colours of the Coranda Sim Sport machine, with Clark Williams ever present, very green car. I think it's all I can say about it. It's green. But Raymond Norris, of course, is still holding off Stephen Harper. Ryan Walker has dropped away a little bit here, but could be a safe zone for him should we see any action later in this race. So it's a well-reserved spot. He has, of course, pulled away from Chris Malcolm at the moment by a small amount, but it's still under threat. He's managed to keep that position for the race duration so far, so we could see something like that happening, but at the moment it is still Povey and Williams. We will definitely see a move by Povey here, We've seen it every lap. One of them has passed the other one in the run here to turn 8, but outside this time for Povey. That's an interesting decision, Jimmy.
I'm starting to wonder actually now what is going through the minds of these guys as Povey goes to the outside and Williams to the inside, takes the position again up into first place, but Povey's still there present.
Leading, Jimmy.
Oh, sorry, yes, Povey's still there on the outside, Williams leading, and lost some space there. Where are we?
Well, we're watching a motor race, Jimmy.
Thank you very much. There we are. We're back. As Clark Williams again, sort of looking to maybe pick up the pieces, but now you have to be wondering what's going through the minds of these people now. We're coming to the last couple of laps of the race. We need to start thinking about the actual end position now, not just dicing. As Clark
incident
Williams
on the racetrack,
big crash.
Incident. That is a huge incident. We'll get you a replay of that one, as this all starts around the car of Raymond Norris there, who was running in P4. Car just catches the back end of Clark Williams, puts him round, gets contact there from driver of Stephen Harper. Unfortunately, our guy in the safe spot, Ryan Walker, nowhere to go for him as he gets rear-ended by, well, that was your other driver in the top group, the driver of Chris Malcolm. So quite a disastrous turn of affairs for the majority of your top 5.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying this could end in tears, and it did then. It was just a domino effect there. Unfortunately, cars had nowhere to go apart from the car in front of them, and Chris Malcolm, who was sort of dropping back there, is now actually sitting happy in third place on his potential first podium. So,
it's not going to last for long, Jimmy, because Gary Tall, with a very undamaged car, is catching him hand over fist here. So Chris Malcolm going to be passed by that driver. Might be able to hold on against Mick Watson in P5, maybe against Ryan Walker in P6 if he can keep it on the racetrack. In fact, that could be possible for Walker, although he's been caught by Paul Thurston, so unlikely for him. Disappointment for a good performance he was expecting in this race. That damage really caused by a bit of a concertina effect in your final corner. As it stands though, Williams and Povey, well, they're 5 seconds clear of the field. They can calm down now, but I severely doubt they will. Those two drivers still going at it hammer and tongs. The win is now down to them. It will be David Williams or Simon Povey, should nothing go wrong. That's me touching wood. I do not want to bring the commentator's curse down on this one, as Williams and Povey are battling just as hard as when they were in a big pack. Well, they've got more breathing room now, so we should see some more, shall we say, tactical moves played out here, Jimmy. They've really got the room to do it.
Yeah, a little bit less pressure now. No Skippy buzzing around in the mirror anymore. Just the car in front of you if you're Simon Povey, and just the car behind you if you're David Williams. Coming up now, we're on lap 12 out of 14, so it's just about time to start thinking of those last lap moves, where you want to be, where you think you're going to be, and how you're going to attack the guy in front of you. These guys have been going at it all race, they know exactly what sort of moves to expect from each other, which will make the last couple of laps even more exciting for us.
It certainly will be, and looking at the 83 car of Chris Malcolm, he was in a promoted 3rd position after that wreck, after running P7 for the majority of the race, and he still is technically. He's ahead of Gary Tall there. Gary's car not as damaged though, so we could expect a pass here very soon. Also got Mick Watson behind him there, but Chris Malcolm actually defending fairly well here. No nose cone on that car, no suspension damage we think, but definitely increased drag, which will be a major impact for him on this straight. We see Gary Tall making a big gain there with his very undamaged machine. Defensive line by Chris Malcolm, so he could hold on to this one as they go too wide now towards turn 8, but it will be a clean pass completed in the braking zone by Gary Tall. So that's Gary Tall up to P number 3. You could expect the same from Mick Watson. Ryan Walker though holding on for P6 at the moment. No, he's not. He's been passed, we believe, by Raymond Norris, so bit of a cripple fight going on there between those two damaged cars from your race earlier on, as Paul Thurston looks for a way through past those drivers. Towards the front there, we are heading now on to lap number 13 for David Williams and Simon Povey. No real let up there, those two cars glued together, Jimmy, just not breaking apart by an inch.
No, very evenly matched, and they will be until right at the end of the race. I don't see this race being won or lost by more than 0.2 of a second, as I'm watching Mark O'Connell at the moment have a look at Paul Thurston.
We have a car off track, I believe. That is the 43 car. No, the 23 car. I'm trying to work out exactly who just had a moment, but 73 car is in fact off track. That is Rob Marshall there had a moment. He is racing once again though, so positions lost for him, but he has managed to keep that car going. We'll try and focus back towards the front of your race on Williams and Povey. They are battling very hard here, but that's boring. That's not what we want to see. We want to see racing. We're here for racing, so Gary Toll, Chris Malcolm and Mick Watson there. See if Chris Malcolm can hold on and salvage a top 5 position out of this one. He's sitting P4 at the moment. A very damaged car. Probably going to come under threat from Mick Watson here, Jimmy.
I don't think Raymond Norris is going to be a problem at this point. I think he's a bit too far back, but Mick Watson definitely. We saw just how slow Chris Malcolm's car was in straight line. We're about to see it again, I think, as Mick Watson closes up in the draft. And bear in mind, Chris has a draft as well at this point. You can just see the difference in top speed between these cars as Mick goes up the inside. Does he? No, he thinks better of it, backs out of it. Still one lap more to do it, so maybe we're saving it until then.
Absolutely, it's very defensive driving there by Mick Watson, so I'm expecting him to try and make a last lap pass here as we look at Williams and Povey now coming towards the final corner as we head on to the final lap here at Oulton Park in Monday Night Skip Barber Racing Series. There's a bit of a wobble by Povey as he tries to avoid Williams. This will be his opportunity now. We've seen him stay behind Williams for the last few laps, Jimmy. He's not made the typical pass on the back straight. Has he been saving a little something? Has he been putting him into a false sense of security?
Tactical thinking, definitely at this point. He's got to try and make sure that he's in the right spot at the right time. But saying that, he goes a little bit wide coming out of turn 1. It's not going to affect him too much. He's got a couple of straights to draft back up to the back of David Williams. And this is going to be the point where Simon's going to be sort of running over in his mind where he's going to be making that pass, where he's going to be putting his car, and how he's going to make sure it sticks. But even if he does get the pass made going into the right-hander, he's still got another chance. David Williams to come back at him coming into the last corner, so it's going to be action all the way to the line.
It will be, as we just see Chris Malcolm making, getting past, I should say, by Mick Watson. No, he holds it back again, so great brave move, but he's on the grass. No, he's off. Chris Malcolm goes off that track and, well, nearly hits the tyre barrier. He gets it going again, but he will have to concede to Mick Watson. Valiant defensive attempt there by the 83 car, even with that severe damage. He will have to settle for P5, it seems. But looking towards Williams and Povey, it's big action as they're side by side here, heading down towards turn number 8. Williams on the inside, Povey on the outside. Can he hold it on? Not going to be in position here to take advantage. There'll have to be some big moves now by Simon Povey, Jimmy, as we head towards these final corners.
Simon on the outside line at the moment. He wants to be on the inside where Dave Williams is, but Williams is not going to give that up as Williams goes very wide. Big oversteer and contact between the two of them as they come now up to the final corner. Who's it going to be? Simon Povey looking up the inside, right on the rear wheels of David Williams. He's now up to the halfway up to the other Skip Barber, and he's braking hard. He's going to go up the inside. He is, but I think Dave Williams is going to have the better run coming up to the line. Side by side, David Williams is going to be our winner here as he takes to the inside. Very close up the top there as they almost touch again. David Williams by half a car length.
What a finish to this motor race we've just witnessed, of course. A very NASCAR-esque bump and run by Simon Povey in the double apex right on the final lap, but it was not enough to beat David Williams, and we'll see the number 20 VRS on the Simsport car come home today in the pole position. Gary Toll will bring himself home in the final step of the podium and a first podium for the 207 car there. Mick Watson P4. Chris Malcolm brings it home in P number 5. Well, very exciting race we've just experienced, Jimmy, and fortunate end to our big pack battle we saw for the majority of this race, of course, with the incident with Stephen Harpham and Gordon Anderson there, just unfortunately ending that good run we saw, but overall, pretty reasonable race.
I mean, it was a shame. I would have liked to have seen the 6 cars or 7 cars we had at the top of the field all go into the last lap with that mindset of I want to win or I want a podium. I think that would have been a lot more nice for us to watch as commentators, but still, we were still treated to a very intense last lap by Simon and David. So congrats to both those drivers for keeping it as clean as possible, of course, and of course congrats to Gary Toole, who comes home in a, as you said, perhaps unexpected third place. So
it certainly is, and well, we're going to run through your finishing positions now and see exactly what we've had happen. David Williams, of course, comes home today with the victory here at Oulton Park, and he will, of course, be followed by Simon Povey, who just could not quite get it done. Gary Toll comes home in 3rd, Mick Watson in P4, Chris Malcolm holds on for 5th place with a very damaged car. Raymond Norris also limps home for P number 6. Brian Walker comes home P7, Paul Thurston in 8th, Mark O'Connell 9th, and Rob Marshall in P10. The rest of those results are coming up on the screen for you now. And finally, we can bring you lots of interviews here at RaceSpot TV on iRacing Live, as we're joined by Fahim Anstonides and Ryan Walker in the RaceSpot TV booth.
hello Ryan, hello Fahim, how are we doing today?
Exhausted.
I can imagine so. I'm just watching back now, Ryan. I'm sure this is the first thing that we're going to want to ask you about, is the incident on lap 10. I'm just watching it back now. You seem to be just sort of caught up in that. There wasn't really anywhere for you to go.
Yeah, it's just basically we were so close together from first to sixth or seventh place, I believe. Uh, both two cars in front of me got caught up, and I just had nowhere to go. So I just went into the back of one of the cars, and I just had nowhere to go. But luckily, I had the car was still good to get to the finish, and after that incident, I'm quite happy with seventh place.
No, it was a good run regardless, and we thought at one point that one of 7 cars could have come away with the win there, but unfortunately the undoing obviously was the contact on lap 10, but good race regardless, and if you're happy with 7th, then we're happy as well.
Thank you.
Well, I'm now stood by here with Fahim Antonides. Fahim, you come home today on a recovery drive, I should say, of P13, which, considering at one point you were in a tyre barrier with no nose cone, is an impressive recovery.
Yeah, it was not a very good race, not a very good outing for me today. First of all, I had problems in qualifying. I don't think I would have gotten pole. Simon was far too quick for that today. I would have been good for second, but then I blew my engine, which meant that I couldn't do a low fuel run, and that was what slowed me down. Then during the race, I went side by side with Clark, I think it was, in the hairpin. And I think he nudged a little to the left, and that sent me onto the grass. Managed to recover okay from there, and then going down the straight down the hill, I got tagged from behind into the fast right-hander, and that also put me on the grass. But then something really strange happened. I heard a little Windows disconnect sound, when a USB disconnects, and my wheels locked left, which sent me in the barrier. So I think my wheel disconnected then temporarily, and that's where the problem really started. But luckily it's reconnected, and I was managed to get back going.
Well, you may not have to come home first in the race today, Fahim, but you certainly have P number 1 in the Racing Driver excuse book, as you've come out with a good list here today. But of course, you are still leading the championship today, of course, at a 13th place finish. Enough to secure you some points, with Gavin Marsden behind you and Tom Ward both not in this race. Simon Maltby also involved in an incident, and Simon Povey sitting in P5. You look pretty comfortable with this championship, having not won a race this season.
I tried to play it safe the whole season, and barring a couple of bad races like today and last week, I've pretty much finished on the podium, always improving on the qualifying position. I was on to what I thought would have been a win in at Spa. I got pole there, and I was running really comfortably when when my computer disconnected. But computer crashed, so I disconnected. So we'll never know if that would have been my first win. But yes, that's that. I've been really cautious. Apart from the last 2 races, it's worked out really well.
Well, good luck with the rest of the season for him, and good luck with the potential championship run here, showing that consistency is often far, far more important than all-out pace in a single round. Well, Jimmy, it's been an exciting race we've seen today, and it's been great to have you on board here for a round of the UK Skip Barber Racing School Series. Any final thoughts?
Well, again, thank you for having me. Always awesome to commentate on these Skippys. And if you haven't driven Oulton Park or any other of the glorious UK tracks that iRacing has to offer, go and drive them. They're fantastic. That's all I've got to say.
Well, you heard it there from the one, the only Jimmy Broadbent. I've been Rachel Whiteford. This has been RaceSpot TV. We've been streaming live on iRacing Live on YouTube. Catch us this time next week for more of the UK Skip Barber Racing School Series. Good night.